once again, just like to all the class 11 students. So in our last session, we have discussed about the composition of the Constituent Assembly of India, in which we have discussed about how the members of the Constituent Assembly were elected from the regions either falls in British India provinces and the princely states. And we have also discussed about how the members of the how the strength of the members of the Constituent Assembly had to reduced after the partition plan of 1947. So today we will going to discuss the new topic, that is principle of deliberation. Deliberation means careful discussion. Any discussion that is careful and thoughtful discussion. All right. So in order to make an effective constitution, the members of the Constituent Assembly had to go through a series of discussion. In fact, in a span of 3 years, when they started working for towards making framing a constitution in 9th December 1946 and until 1949 26th of November. So within this 3 year, in a span of 3 year, they had gathered for 144 times, and during this meeting they had to go through a long discussion, and through which uh, they have managed to make a constitution that is effective and successful one for India, right? Now, if you remember in our first session, we have discussed one of the topic which was related with the effectiveness of the constitution, in which we have discussed that effectiveness of the constitution depends on several factors, right? Like the mode of promulgation, which relates with the which is related with the who craft the constitution, who were involved in the making of the constitution, and substantive provision. Uh, some of the important provisions which encourages or which gives a reason for people to go along with the constitution and respect the constitution. And we have also discussed one of the point was balanced institutional design through equal sharing of power between the institution allows effective constitution. Now, these are some of the important factors we agreed upon, but these factors wouldn't have yield any result, positive result, if the members of the Constituent Assembly have not gone through a careful discussion, through uh, through that discussion, which allows them to see or identify the loopholes, right? Negative effects uh, of the Constitution upon the society, right? So these discussions have made possible for the Constituent Assembly of India to create or frame a constitution that is very successful one. Okay, so as we all are aware as we aware about the diverse section of the people who were involved in the Constituent Assembly of India, since the members of the Constituent Assembly were elected from the different section. They were the representative of the different section. So they were all from a different backgrounds. They were people from upper class, lower class, middle class, right? So it was quite obvious that they faced a lot of differences in opinion among within the members of the Constituent Assembly of India. But the members of the Constituent Assembly have made sure, one thing they have made sure was they put their national interests above their own interests. Instead of putting their own interests first, they have made sure that their national interest comes first while they were discussing or making any suggestions, right? So that was one of the most important principles they have upholded while they were discussing or creating the constitution for India. Okay, and some of the issues they discuss upon were centralized or decentralized system. So they have discussed about should India adopt a centralized or decentralized system of government. So now centralized system means all the powers are concentrated at the high level. So the low level would not have any powers, right? Decentralized means there is an equal sharing of power uh, within the uh, uh, upper, middle, and lower level, right? So since India is a large in terms of its population as well as in terms of their area, it is the centralized system which is quite suitable for India, right? And it wouldn't have possible to adopt uh, a centralized system of India considering their size and the population. So they have decided to adopt a decentralized system of government. Now they have also discussed about the relations between the state and the center. So since India is a federal state, so federal state means there's an equal sharing of power between state and the center, right? Therefore, India is a federal state. If there's more power is concentrated in the hands of center, then it is known as unitary, right? One of the other issues they have discussed about is power of judiciary. Since India is a democratic state, it is very necessary or essential to have enough power for a judiciary. One of the most important pillar for a democratic country, right? Now, judiciary's main task or job is to bring a justice in a society. So, if or they will check upon any institution whether they are violating the constitution of India. So their main job is to bring a justice in a society. So it is possible only when they have enough power, right? Now these are some of the issues which they had to go through a lot of discussion, but there was one issue which was agreed unanimously by all the members of the Constituent Assembly. That was universal suffrage. Now, universal suffrage means it is a right for every individual of the country, citizens of the country, to cast their vote if they reach a certain age, when they reach a certain age, right? So, in the case of India, initially the age limit for right to cast was 21. So it was only in 1988, after the 61st amendment, the age limit was reduced to 18 years. Okay. Our next topic is inheritance of national movement. So from the title itself, you might get some idea about what we are about to discuss. So inheritance. So there are certain things, even though the constitution was framed or drafted by the members of the Constituent Assembly, and all the credit goes to them, right? They have worked very hard within these 3 years, and it took them like 3 years, and within this 3 year, they had to go through a lot of meeting and discussion, and finally they have managed to make a constitution. But at the same time, we are also aware about the composition of the Constituent Assembly, and the Constituent Assembly of India was consist of people from different backgrounds. So everyone was having a different perception and different knowledges, right? So it would have been very difficult for them to come into terms and to make a constitution that is agreed upon by everyone, and unless if there is no inherited principles prior to the making of the constitution. Tangi nangthuen ro di khar sigyosun ta khala wars na dina wor ro nangthuen ro di so the constitution sunyi the konzu race Constituent Assembly the members in the race, Consu Losums Caligere, Losum de Nalo, Consu Tondu in a Moscoiris, Nele, Constitution Sue Gomozu one, Consul Niene Korane, Manzu, the Chashiji, Euro, Chashidu, Tingsai, Franzui, Manzula Karkar, principal Karkar Manzugi, Constitution of Louis West, Kecheche. And constitution is so that nature that so corruption what in our manzu principle color values color Louis West, what does it mean to discuss chesa? What is this songs are any that's why it has benefited or made easier for the members of the Constituent Assembly to make a constitution since there was already a consensus or agreed principles uh, which was decided back in the freedom struggle during the freedom struggle. Okay, there are certain some important prominent leaders who have already made sure that these are some of the principles we have to uh, include. We have to include those principles in our constitution. So it was decided way before the day they have started working towards the making of the constitution. Now, objective resolution. So it was proposed. So before they started working towards the making of or framing of the constitution, it was proposed by Nehru in their during the third meeting of the Constituent Assembly, and he had proposed a resolution that is known as objective resolution. Now, objective resolution from it consists of a number of principles on which he proposed that once we started working towards the framing of the constitution, we should keep in mind that these principles, equality, liberty, sovereignty, should be included in our constitution. Or, in other words, we can say that uh, while you are making a constitution, you have to keep in mind that these principles should be included in the constitution. So it made very easier for the members of the Constituent Assembly to make a constitution which at the same time have to include all the necessary principles. So in short, we can say that through objective resolution, it laid the foundation for the Constitution of India. All right. Now, so far we have discussed about how the Constituent Assembly, members of the Constituent Assembly, have worked very hard uh, towards the framing of the Constitution. But there are certain provisions which India adopted from other countries, right? So some of the provisions are from fundamental rights, which is enjoyed by every citizen of India, and which cannot be violated by any government or institution or any individuals, right? So this fundamental idea of fundamental rights was adopted from the Constitution of India, and from British the FPTP system. Now, FPTP system is one of the election method which is quite often used in a general election to elect the members of the Lok Sabha. And not only that, they have also adopted a parliamentary form of government. Now, parliamentary form of government means all the policy making and law making is entrusted with the parliament, right? So they have also borrowed the idea of bicameralism, in which India have two houses, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, right? And from France, some of the important principles they have borrowed were liberty, equality, and fraternity. So these are some of the provisions which they have adopted from the other countries there, and there are some other provisions adopted from Irish and Canada also.